tell you, this guy's been busy. This morning he had a debate. Tonight he has a debate, knocking on doors, making phone calls, traveling all over the 1st Congressional District. And I have now anointed a new theme song for Mr. Rob Cornilles. Hit it. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. It's bad to the bone. Rob Cornilles. You know, Rob, you won't get this on any other talk show.
That is awesome, Bill.
Well, you know,
I'm bad to the bone and not bad to the Bonamici.
Thought about it that way. I tell you, I was sitting this morning thinking about talking to you, and I thought, you know, there's got to be a song we could do that would just be, and I thought, bad to the bone. And that's in a good way, you know. You know, when people think bad to the it's bad, like in, you know, it's a bad mother, you know what I mean?
Well, we got a race to run, and we got an election to win here in 3 weeks. 3 weeks from tonight, we anticipate, with your viewers, celebrating history being made right here in Oregon.
Absolutely.
Putting a jobs-friendly representative in Congress, believe it or not, the Portland region. That's going to happen.
Okay, now, here's the thing. You know that I said to you on at least 2 or 3 occasions, in fact, I told our listeners earlier and I showed them on the camera. Here's the quote that I said, Rob Cornilles every day. The quote from Marla Smithson, Wu's former campaign manager, about there are far too many of us that have, you know, we knew about all this.
Right.
Today, or last night going into today, you've basically kind of taken the gloves off, and I mean this in a good way. I think this is good. I hate that we have to go here, but if this is good, that you've come out and said, look, this is some things you need to know about Suzanne Bonamici. Tell us some of these things.
Well, first of all, Bill, I gotta say to you and to the listeners, this campaign has been very focused and disciplined in talking about issues that really matter to Oregonians for now 5 months.
Yeah.
And we were, you know, obviously intending to continue to talk about jobs. We will talk about jobs for the next 3 weeks and long thereafter after I'm elected. However, once the other side starts to put on $1.5 million of negative attack ads against me, which are based on mischaracterizations, mistruths, half-truths, etc., then the voters need to know that these are the very same people, the very same establishment that David Wu, who embarrassed our state. They enabled him, the man who assaulted women, they enabled him, they allowed it to happen, and they fooled a lot of voters, at least a year ago, maybe even long before that. Mm-hmm. And now they're trying to fool voters again about me and my background, growing jobs, building a business in Tualatin. And that's why it's a critical time for me to step out and say on the record that this is the kind of behavior we cannot reward by allowing her to go back into Congress and to be our representative. She's not representing our values now. She won't do it in Congress.
I'm glad that you portrayed it this way. Not portrayed's not the right word, but you put it this way because you're right. You have had a very, very straightforward, informational, positive campaign. But you're right. Out of nowhere, about a month ago, kablam! I told you before, my wife and I sit and we watching Wheel of Fortune or Jeopardy or something, and every ad that came on was Rob Cornilles, he's a jerk. Rob Cornilles, he's horrible. I mean, you know what I'm saying? And I mean, my wife and I were like, okay, this is really becoming mind-numbing. I wonder what Rob's going to do next. And here it is.
Well, and keep in mind, I'm not running an attack ad. I have run an ad that is quoting local newspapers, the Oregonian and the Willamette, who are basically quoting her.
Yeah.
So, you know, but I'm not making these types of terrible mischaracterizations and trying to demonize anybody. And that's really a sad commentary on where we're at right now with the establishment, the political elite in Portland, is that in order for them to win an election, they have to demonize the very type of person we need to grow this economy.
And yet, according to their own polling, okay, and I don't want to dwell on this, but according to their own polling, because we know that poll that was done by Democrats, the SEIU, and so on and so forth. They show her with an 11-point lead. All right. So if that were true, then Rob, why go to all of this hard work of hammering you so hard if it's really that comfortable of a lead? You know what I mean?
You're very perceptive, Bill. That's exactly what is happening. They don't like the internal numbers they're seeing, whatever they are. So they figure, since they don't have any confidence in their own candidate, they figure they need to take the bull by the horns now, and they need to try to assassinate my character, knock me off the saddle, so to speak, and do everything they can to hold on to this seat, because they know they're 3 weeks away from losing it. And that's why we have got to stay very focused on this message, because it's resonating. People are tired of more of the same. They're tired of political insiders, of lawyers turned politicians taking over the direction of this country, not to mention this state. And they're saying we need to go a new direction. We need someone who's actually got a proven record of creating jobs, of being a part of the community and doing good things, who's not running because it's their political aspiration, but they're doing it because they feel this is how they can best contribute to their community. And that's a narrative they don't like. They're not accustomed to it. And what's also very, very important for your listeners to keep in mind, Bill, is that if we reward this kind of behavior by allowing her to be elected, it's going to make it more difficult for people like me, for people like you, to try to even consider running for office in this state.
Yeah.
And they're trying to discourage us. They're trying to dispirit us. We cannot let it happen.
I don't know if you had, I know you're busy, so I doubt you had the time, but I spent a good chunk of my second hour yesterday playing some audio cuts and breaking it down a little bit. Again, as you just said a little while ago, that are her own quotes, things that she has said that have been recorded, video or audio. And for instance, the thing about acknowledging that, heck, I don't remember a tax I ever voted against. And then what I loved was the very end when it said, and I will do the same thing when I get to Congress. I mean, I play that and it scares the snot out of me.
Yeah, and on top of that, she'll be in the minority because we know how the House is made up right now. She'll be in the minority this year, and she'll probably be in the minority for the next 3 years. What can she do for Oregon when we need it most? The Oregonian itself called her excruciatingly cautious.
Yeah.
Is that what you need to grow an economy? No, you need someone who's bold. You need someone who's got some leadership abilities, who's got the ability to persuade and influence others to do what's right for this state, not to mention this country. Not someone who's going to be sitting on the back bench pushing the button for her party, who largely got her into office because they're spending millions of dollars for her.
You know, we talked yesterday about, she was caught at I think it was Saturday, at a town hall meeting, something along that lines, where she really didn't know how much people have contributed to her campaign. Was it individual donors? She kept talking to her finance person. And we did some number crunching. And now we know that there's been about $1.5 million spent, or going to be spent, about $1.5 million, okay? According to her numbers, she's collected about $700,000 in individual donations, if you buy what she said, okay? So let's just play with that for a minute. That's still $800,000 from outside. And it's scary, the groups that are contributing to her campaign.
Well, sure, it's full of attorneys, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's lawyers protecting lawyers. She likes to, I think that the greatest endorsement that she likes to talk about is district attorneys from the Portland region who have endorsed her.
Whereas
meanwhile,
your endorsees are?
My endorsees are 21 mayors within the district. Bipartisan mayors, Republicans, yes, Democrats, absolutely, independents, of course. These are the people that are endorsing my campaign right now. Why? Because they know the number one issue is job creation, is growing this economy. And they want to have a partner in Congress who they have confidence can help them do that, regardless of the party affiliation. So she's been in the state legislature for years, yet even mayors from around the area say, you know what, between her and Rob Cornilles, we'd much prefer to have Rob Cornilles. So much so that they're working for my campaign to help us get elected.
What about, what does the business community in the 1st Congressional District say about Rob Cornilles? Or are you getting that kind of feedback?
Well, you bet. I'm visiting companies and talking to workers and the people who employ them, the people who would want to hire more. I'm talking with them daily. I'm visiting their places of employment. I'm trying to understand as best I can how I can positively impact that work environment and how I can encourage and motivate job creators and entrepreneurs to start hiring again, not only in our state but throughout the country. And they understand when they elect me, they're not electing someone who's going to learn as they go about job creation, because I've been doing it for 16 years. 60 people I've employed, whereas she's never signed the front of a check in employing anybody, and that's to me a real telltale sign of the type of congresswoman she would be. She would be lost. She'd be in the dark as far as the most important issue we face today.
Okay, now you have just brought me to a question that I had. I thought, and we've already mentioned that tonight you have a debate again at 7 o'clock on Channel 8, and I very much want people to watch that, whether they're in the district or not. I think it's important. But if I were a moderator at the debate tonight, I actually have a question that I would ask both of you, but I don't have her, so I'm going to ask you. This would be my question. If Rob Cornilles is elected to Congress, you go out to Washington, D.C., would you, when you get there, look for, and I don't know what the right word would be, so I'm going to use guidance and hope you understand where I'm going. Guidance from Republicans who are there now, who obviously have been there for a little while, or at least have some experience. You know what I mean? Are you looking for like a Greg Walden or somebody like that to say, hey, Rob, come on over here. I want to kind of show you the ropes, and I want to kind of walk you through some things because we think you're a pretty smart guy and think you could do a good job. You know what I mean?
Yes, of course I would, Bill. And I'll answer your question before I need to run to my next event. But I would tell you that Greg Walden is, I think, a tremendous congressman from Oregon. He's done a lot of things for our country. And Greg and I don't agree on everything, and we've had conversations about that. But we agree on enough that I would like to look to him for direction. I'm not beyond being coachable as far as, I don't want to waste time learning things that someone with his wisdom and experience could teach me.
Yeah.
I want to be as effective as possible, as early as possible.
That's kind of where that's the general direction I was trying to go. All right, Rob, tonight, 7 o'clock on Channel 8, is this going to be the final debate, as far as you know?
No, we have two more. Two next week. One live and one on radio.
Okay, but ballots go out as early as this Friday, right?
That's what I understand.
Okay, so people could start voting this weekend, in essence. So
absolutely,
we need to get the word out. All right, Rob Cornilles, CornillesForCongress.com is his website. Rob, have a great rest of your day and week. Okay.
Thanks a lot, Bill. Keep it up.
You bet.
Bye-bye.
All right, there you go. All right, well, I'm going to come back in just a little bit.